a tester from the heavens land. Like chain to silent by the metals in the fire. The devil's mind no longer breathes. The sending angels of fallen years. Raise your hands, what do you hold? The devil's breathing cloud.
My influences. I could probably talk about that for a long time. I listen to a lot of different stuff, but you know, as a guitar player, my two biggest influences I would have to say are Eddie Van Halen and Angus Young. You know, from when I was a little kid, still to this day. But having said that, there are a lot of other guitar players that I love and that have inspired me and influenced me over the years. You know, guys like Hendrix. Wow. Danny Gatton.
Yeah.
I don't know. The list can. I mean,
British guys.
Joe Satriani. I'm a huge fan of his. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of guys I love. Eric Johnson. Yeah.
Describe the specification of your playing technique and your sound.
Describe
Your playing technique.
the playing technique. I don't know how to. I'm very much self-taught. You know what I mean? So I don't really know how to explain too well what I'm doing. I mean, I could try to explain it in my own terms and the way I think about it when I go about playing guitar. You know, for me, it all ties into how I look at music and how I like to create music, and you know, also being a record producer as well. I'm always looking at it, you know, looking at the big picture, basically. So for me, if I'm going to play a solo, I'm not just going to play a solo. I'm going to do something that, you know, I'm going to try to make the song go somewhere else or take it to another level, or, you know, put a hook in there that wasn't there before. You know what I mean? That's how I like to look at it. And I think I'm a very rhythmic player as well. You know, I think that comes from because I also play drums too. I grew up kind of playing drums, so I like to, you know, attack my solos in a rhythmic fashion, and also, you know, with the melody in mind. You know, making the licks count rather than just blowing, you know, chops, and because anyone could do that. You could sit in your room for hours and get your fingers flying, and it just doesn't mean anything. Yeah, I mean, what I like to do, you know, when I'm coming up with solos and stuff, I don't really like to, you know, some guys really plan it out and write it out. That's never been my thing. Okay. I always like to keep it fresh and somewhat spontaneous, you know. So, for example, you know, in the studio, if there's a new track and there's a solo section, I'll wait till I like to do that when the song is almost done, when the vocals are recorded, and so I have a big picture of the song, like the melody of the vocals, even the lyrics. You know, sometimes it'll kind of put me in a certain mindset or whatever. And sometimes with the leads, I could play off the melody of what the vocals doing. Sometimes maybe, but it's just good to have the whole song there, you know, rather than just playing to riffs, you know. So basically, I'll run the solo down, and I'll turn it up really loud, and I'll just jam to it, and I'll maybe do like 5 takes, you know, different stuff, and then I'll just sit back and listen, and it'll start to take shape in my mind, and once it's really strong up here, and then I'll do some serious takes and nail it. You know, that's how I like to do it. But I don't really. you know, I'm not, like I said, I'm very much self-taught, so I'm not really looking at it from a theory perspective. I mean, I know what I'm doing to a certain extent, but it's not. For me, it's more about playing from the heart, and you know, when it's done, does that stick in your head? Do you remember that? You know what I mean? Because there are so many great guitar players out there, you know, like technically and stuff, and you know, a lot of younger guys get caught up in that, you know, just like the whole technique side of it. I did too when I was a kid, when I was younger. But you know, at the end of the day, if you play solo and when the song is finished, the people don't remember at least one lick or two licks from your solo, then you didn't do it right. You know, that's in my opinion, at least.
Okay.
Yeah. I do. Yeah, I like a lot of pentatonic stuff. There's this weird lick I've been messing around with for a little while now. It's a technique, basically. How would I do that? It's not really alternate picking, but it's like a fast picking thing, and then there's a hammer on the left hand. If you apply it to the pentatonic scale, it's like. If you do it really fast, it sounds really cool. And then
I think I hear this licks from Mary Jane on this.
I probably use it on there.
I think.
Yeah, that's something I use. I throw it in, you know, every now and then.
Can you play it slowly, please?
Yep. I'll do it with this shape right here. It's weird playing stuff slow. Yeah.
Another one? Please.
Another one. This is kind of like it's sort of Eric Johnson-esque in the picking. It's like I guess you call it economy picking or whatever, but something I've been messing around with. You could do it. You could obviously do it with the pentatonic scale, like that kind of thing, or you could, you know, mess around with shapes like. Yeah, I mean, it's just really a picking pattern that you can apply to different scales and different notes.
Can you play it again?
Yeah.
Slowly.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So, actually, with that one, I would actually go back up alternate picking. So it'd be. Yeah.
With your right hand, you play up, down, and sweep technique.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So I don't know what you call that. Economy picking. It's not really. I don't really consider that sweep picking. I guess. Is it? You would know more than me.
I think that's easy, but.
Okay. I know Eric Johnson does a lot of that stuff. Joe Bonamassa does a lot of that stuff. Frank Mbali does a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
Thank you so much, you're beautiful. Bring on those fists. Bring them up. You want to see the close surfers out there? Are you ready to say yes? Yes! Yes! Let's get ready to rumble! Wheel the fires into the rear. Minds that don't know how to wear. The stain is what we're bringing you to. Where you will feel all this power. The Viking glory of me. The castle will obey this name. Back of your head, you feel the floor again. Please against hell, you will not even hear the bell. Maybe you stop, but you don't stand a chance. Feel
I've been using this pedal called the Interstellar Overdrive by a company called Death by Audio. It's this little company in Brooklyn. And I use that for solos a lot. You know, it's basically an overdrive pedal, but it's almost like two pedals in one.
Yeah.
And you can get some really cool sounds with that thing. I usually put a compression pedal in front of it, like a Dynacomp or something like that, just to make the notes pop out a little bit. That's basically it.
And your amps, it's a Fryette amp?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you speak about your tone?
Yeah, I've been using, the company used to be called VHT back in the day. But his name's Steve Fryette. You know, he changed the name to Fryette, and it's the same stuff, same amps. It's, in my opinion, one of the greatest amps around. You know, it just sounds killer. You could almost like close your eyes and do like this with the knobs, and it doesn't matter. It just always sounds great. The model I'm using is called the Sig X, and I started using that. Steve sent me that amp on the Big 4 tour. That's when I first started using it, and I loved it. It just sounded crushing every night, and it's got a really cool clean channel too, which works really well for Volbeat because there's a lot of clean stuff. Yeah, I just love it. It's overall a killer amp. You can get any sound you want, from the British vibe to like, you know, full on, you know, modern, you know, metal sound, you know, to also like you can make it sound like an old 800 if you want. It's a killer amp. I can't speak highly of it enough. Well, this is my signature model. We are actually in the process of relaunching this thing with some new things and some new features, but I can't really talk about yet. But yeah, this guitar is based on an old ESP Horizon that they sent me in 95, 96. And obviously with some changes added to it. The body is Swamp Ash.
Yeah.
That's the wood that was on my original guitar, and it just sounded killer, so we recreated that. It's apparently hard to find, but they have a stash, so they've been using that for my guitars, which is cool. The fingerboard is rosewood.
Yeah.
I like the look of the the no fret markers. Obviously I have the fret markers on the side here.
Okay.
These glow in the dark,
Yes.
which is cool. If you just hit them with a flashlight, which is what my tech does before the show, they light up. What else? The
Pickup.
yeah, the pickup is my own signature DiMarzio pickup, which I worked on with them with Steve Blucher. We started with a Tone Zone, which is one of their pickups that I was using for a long time. It's a great all-around pickup. So we started with that, and then we kind of, you know, took it to another level. I think, you know, I think it's a really killer pickup. It records really well too. I like bolt-on.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of the bolt-on. I do have some neck-through guitars, and those are also really nice, but the bolt-on for me, it just resonates a certain way. It just works really well for my style and for, you know, the music I'm playing.
And what sort of string you use?
I use 10 to 52s. I use the Diodario, the NY series. I've been using 10 to 52s for a long time, so I'm really used to them. Yeah. On this new album, we have a bunch of tunes that are in standard tuning. Most of the Volbeat stuff is down a whole step, so it's D on the bottom. Some of the songs, like for example, Seal the Deal and that song Mary Jane Kelly, those are tuned to A440. So I'm experimenting with, I don't even know if I like it yet, but I'm experimenting with a lighter string gauge. Just because the tension is obviously tighter, and when the guitar's tuned up. I haven't played a guitar in standard tuning in a long time, because even Anthrax was down a half step, you know, so D sharp on the bottom. So yeah, my pick.
Standard or?
This is basically Dunlop Tortex.
Yeah.
It's basically a medium. It's not too heavy. It's not too light. I think it's 73 millimeter. I think. Yeah. Well, obviously the classic guitar microphone is an SM57, a Shure SM57, and for a reason, because it sounds awesome on guitar. You know, so I love the 57 on the guitar, but I also combine it with another mic. So either a Sennheiser 421 or an Audio-Technica 4050 works really nice. The trick is getting the two mics, you know, in phase. Like I like to get it perfectly in phase with mic placement. And I tend to favor the edge of the cone for rhythm stuff. So I'll put the 57 on one edge of the cone and the 421 on the other side of the cone, and just get them totally phase locked. But for solos, it's a different thing. I treat solos like it's a vocal, basically. The same way I would record a singer, I record my leads. You know what I mean? So, no, I'm talking about the vocal chain. So you got the mic, which, you know, a lot of times ends up being a 57 again, but I'll move it from the edge of the cone to maybe the center, and I'll run it through like a Neve 1073 mic pre, for example, into an 1176, which is one of my favorite vocal compressors, but it's good on everything. It's an amazing compressor. But yeah, even if I'm not, a lot of times I just use the 1176 for color, not even, you know, compressing it too much, or sometimes it's not compressing at all. It's just running through the box, adds this cool magic. So yeah, that's basically it.